You are listening to Rocket Shop Radio Hour at Big Heavy World. I'm your host, Abby BK, and with us today in the studio, we have Grace Palmer. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. And so the last time that we saw each other was at the Venetian Soda Lounge's singer-songwriter competition, which we were talking a little bit about before we were on air. So what else have you been up to since at least I saw you last, and I'm sure other people maybe listening did too?
Yeah. Since then, definitely trying to keep my head down, graduate college.
Felt that.
Yeah. I think I did a show in Rhode Island. Got some stuff coming up this weekend on Saturday, which will be fun at Dartmouth. And Radio Bean quite a bit, but yeah, just trying to graduate first and then jump into it,
Totally. And so you're a part of, obviously doing your solo sets, but you're part of two groups as well here in Burlington. So how frequently are you kind of doing your solo gigs versus doing band gigs?
Yeah. What I was saying a bit earlier, so I only got involved with the bands in September, August, September this past year. And that was a totally new experience for me, just because I had always kind of been doing the solo stuff. I grew up in a Christian rock family band, but then since I turned 18, it's kind of just been, me going off and me and my guitar. So in August and September, I really dove into the band work because it was so exciting, whereas I feel like doing solo stuff is a bit more vulnerable. Doing stuff with the band, I just kind of get to play this character on stage of just this super excited, hyping up the crowd type vibes. And it's a lot of really upbeat, exciting music. So I definitely dove mostly into that. And then the past few months, I've kind of been really missing playing my own guitar and doing my own originals. So yeah, it's only been the past few months that I've kind of started to make my way back to the solo stuff. But I try to have a good balance of the two as much as I can.
Yeah, totally. And take us through the background of growing up in a musical family and the Christian rock band. I need to know the lore behind all of that.
Yeah. Not as exciting as you would think, but definitely as fun. So I'm the middle child. Mm-hmm. It's me and my two sisters, and my dad plays guitar, and then me and my other two sisters, we all sing. So it started off when I was probably 8 or 9. We would just go to church every week anyways, and then we started doing a few songs for Christmas or for Easter. And then by the time that I was probably 11 or 12, it was if not a few times a month at the church, then starting to get out and do other church events. We did one political fundraiser once in my town. So yeah, we definitely got out there. It was really fun growing up because it was a great bonding thing for me and my sisters. Saturdays weren't really spent always out in the yard raking leaves. They were down in the basement, just jamming out. So that's always fun. And it's fun to be on stage with people that I trust as much as my family, So it was great. And and I feel like the religious aspect of it, I'm pretty open about this, but I really view Jesus as a social activist type, and so I really think that growing up being involved with that kind of music definitely informed a lot of my beliefs about the world, which I think is only for the better.
Yeah, totally. How do you feel like that's kind of integrated into maybe your solo songwriting as well?
Yeah, I think so. Something that we used to talk a lot about in church growing up was stewardship, and believing that no matter what you believe, no matter who you are, it's always best to try to help as many people as possible. And something that I really found, especially coming to college up in Vermont, was getting involved with work relating around the climate crisis. And I feel like that is a huge social issue that definitely requires all hands on deck. And what I happen to be good at is what I hope I'm good at is the music part. So I feel like that's definitely influenced like what I write about, how I try to go about the whole music thing in general.
Yeah, totally. And that's also, I know, what you shared off air as well, what you're studying as well in college. So that's great that can kind of go hand in hand. How do you feel like your education studying environmental issues and environmental policy has kind of supported that work on both the creative and I guess like educational side of things?
Yeah, I feel like it's taught me, the biggest thing I feel like it's taught me a lot about is the importance of speaking up. Like, I do always kind of get nervous when I talk about these things in a public way, especially since I only talk about it in a public way when I'm doing my solo stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like it taught me the importance of talking about it. And I feel like it also has taught me a lot about like the personal responsibility aspect and how it's really easy to feel like that like we need to make all the right choices. You know, like especially the classic example is like when you go into a grocery store, like you have to choose the right product off the shelf, but it's like the companies that are putting the products on the shelves. What my education has taught me is that we should have some better options. So, yeah, it's kind of what I hope to talk a bit about too. And like the emotional aspect of it. Like I feel like a lot of my professors do a great job. And 350 Vermont, which is where I interned, I feel like they do a great job too of talking about like how it's kind of an emotional thing to think that we're losing some of our natural landscapes that mean so much to so many people. And just being able to like talk about that in a vulnerable way, you know, without being called like a tree hugger is pretty nice, kind of refreshing. So, yeah.
Totally. Well, super awesome that you are using your voice for a great cause and that you're able to integrate it into your music. But yeah, so speaking of music, we'd love to hear your first song. So what have you got for us?
Yeah, I thought I'd like open with one of the climate ones.
Yeah,
but
totally.
A few of the rest are about different stuff. But I was lucky enough to do like a independent study where I interviewed different age groups based on like their thoughts about the climate crisis. And this older couple, we call them like my adopted grandparents, former priest also that, you know, is very close with my family. I interviewed the two of them about their thoughts on what was happening, and it came up in conversation that they feel a lot of personal guilt and that they wanted to get solar panels, but it would take 7 years for them to get a new roof replacement for the solar panels. And the conversation ended with them saying, we feel guilty because we don't know if we have 7 years. So that's kind of where this came about.
Sweet. Grace Palmer. That was beautiful. Thanks so much. What was the name of that one again?
7 years.
7 years. Grace Palmer. So in more of like a general sense, what role do you feel like the arts has to play in social and political environmental change?
Oh my gosh.
Like that's a huge question, but I love that they can go hand in hand. I think that's so interesting.
Yeah, I think they're like extremely linked. Like I think popular music of any age can kind of reflect like cultural, political viewpoints, standpoints, kind of where like public opinion is. And I think also art is like a really unique, I guess a really connective for all people, like thing to experience that can always provide a new perspective on a social issue that maybe you have heard about, maybe you've known about for a while. But I think art is one of the easiest ways to make the emotional argument with that. Like if you look at like the civil rights movement, I think like that's a great example of like a movement where a lot of artists like used their voices to like use them to allow people to have more empathy for the movement and kind of like relay like deep emotions of the people that were like experiencing that, who, you know, like obviously we're trying to change like the social attitude towards it.
Yeah, totally. So what's like next for you? What are you planning to do? Are you hoping to pursue music? Are you hoping to continue to write about the environmental issues as well within your music? Like what are you thinking?
Yeah. So since I'm graduating so soon, I lived in Nashville and just worked full-time as a musician down there before COVID hit. And then because COVID, I thought, okay, better go to college because, you know, no tourists equal no money when you're just doing tip shows mainly. And I've kind of spent the last 4 years really loving that I have been lucky enough to get an education, especially in something I care so much about. But I have also been waiting to just dive back into the music thing and just, you know, see if I can try to push that as much as I can again. So I'm really looking forward to having some free time and being able to just like go as hard with the music thing as I can.
Totally. Gotcha. So how do you feel like Nashville kind of influenced your sound as well? And what was that scene like in comparison to what you're doing here?
Nashville was crazy.
I imagine.
Yeah, especially since I was like 18. Right. You know what I mean? Totally. And I'm just like traversing the city. It was crazy. It was a lot of really hard life lessons really quick. And it felt like it was all at once. And it felt like it was such a rush. But I think it helped to give me a lot of perspective on like how other people live their lives. I come from a fairly conservative, sheltered town in Connecticut. So it was like a great way to kind of like open myself up to the world. Yeah, it was tough, but it was some of the best times of my life, you know?
Yeah, totally. So did you just move there by yourself? Were you with your family or friends? Yeah,
one of my friends who's also named Grace, actually, she agreed to like move down with me, which was so amazing. Yeah, it was really brave of her to just take that leap with me. And that made all the difference.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a huge life change. So, and also so young. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
So, well, we'd love to hear another song. So what do you have for us for your second selection?
Yeah, I just wrote this one like not too long ago. It's not a social justice one. It's mainly about like a relationship where there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of push and pull. And even in the moment, sometimes things can feel like they're getting so heated. You know, it's like every time that you leave this person, you still hope that they know that like you don't, even though you don't want to talk to them anymore, you like really do wish them the best, even though you know that they don't think that. So I wrote this song kind of as like a, hey, like I really wish you the best, to someone that maybe I won't get the chance to say that to. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, personal justice.
Personal.
I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
You didn't know that the audience shouted out things in the show sometimes.
I'm all about that. I love audience participation.
Interactive.
Yeah, it makes it more fun.
All right, well, go ahead.
You were walking like a willow tree. I was trying to put my roots down. Spent all your money on Convenience Street. I was saving up to skip town. Catch up coffee. Has it been a month? I swear I saw you at the party on Union Southside. Cold days catch up. You say I've been tripping by the 28th. The party's moved inside, small size. But you like that, right? Your eyes angry, saying years have changed me, telling me I'll win a race that you won't run. Are you happy? Well, fuck me just for asking. I must be laughing at how you moved on. And I guess I'm doing better than ever, still singing the same damn song. But I don't wish you wrong. You go leaving like a wilted leaf. I'm left feeling something I felt before. A strong sense pull with a touch of grief, and this need to act an animal. Say you've lost it, well you watched me lose mine, and over time the other shoe will drop. Don't be bitter, the mean look didn't fit her, and don't blame me that time doesn't stop. Your eyes angry, saying years have changed me, telling me I'll win a race that you won't run. Are you happy? Well, fuck me just for asking. I must be laughing at how you moved on. And I guess I'm doing better than ever, still singing the same damn song. Well, I don't wish you wrong. And I could never wish a bad existence on you. It just breaks me hearing lately the growing pains you're going through, and all your fury couldn't hurt me the way that your tears do. When your eyes angry, saying years have changed me, telling me I'll win a race that you won't run. Are you happy? Well, fuck me just for asking. I must be laughing at how you moved on. And I guess I'm doing better than ever, still singing the same damn song. But I don't wish you wrong.
Bummer. So I would love to learn a little bit more about, you released an album in 2021, I'll Be Somebody.
Yeah.
So take us through what that album meant to you, what your inspirations were for that particular project, and then also like what's on the horizon, new songs, new releases.
Yeah. So thanks for asking. So I wrote most of it when COVID had hit, because I think a lot of like creatives around that time, especially like art forms that happen in front of people, you know. It was kind of hard to have to pause and really reflect, and so I just ended up writing a lot more than I ever had. And a friend of mine, Dan Crockmill, who is a fabulous musician himself, him and his wife Serena had a cabin in the Delaware forest that had a recording studio, and I think I reached out and I said, hey, could I come record something? And he said, I need something for my portfolio, so totally come up. And yeah, I just spent a few days with him and Serena, and it was really awesome. They're awesome people, super friendly, super fun to be around. And he's a really talented producer, so it was a totally new experience for me. And he definitely pushed me a lot to come up with stuff that worked. And then I had the tracks and I didn't release them for like almost a year, because I just felt like something wasn't like something was missing. And then one of the tracks I recorded like in a dorm room closet, like on like a cheapest mic you can buy, and it was the what is it? It's the it's like the fast upbeat one. I'm like blanking on the name. That's okay. Crazy. But yeah. So that I got that one added to it, and then the I'll Be Somebody song was just a voice memo that I took in the summer of 2021. And then after I had that voice memo, I was like, oh, word, like it's good. We're good to put this out now.
Very cool. So in terms of the ones that you recorded kind of on your own, did you do the production yourself for those too? Like, what was kind of your process with like the putting them out into the world for the ones that like weren't in a studio space? Yeah.
This guy Elliot Ryan, who's a great producer, also a skier. He did the first one that I'm thinking of, and then the second, the voice memo. I mean, it really is just an untouched voice memo.
Wow.
So
I love that.
Yeah,
very
no
authentic
like...
vibes. Yes. Very real. So what is your typical songwriting process? Like, what does that look like for you? How do songs come to you, and how frequently?
I feel like it definitely depends like how much is going on in my personal life. Like I find that the more stressed I am, the more songs I'm writing, which is kind of like a dope, but yeah. I think usually I think of a small melody or like a rhyme that I really like, or just a general idea, and then I'll just try to shape whatever I'm doing around that one idea. Oftentimes there's like 3 or 4 versions of the same, like songs that are extremely similar that like lead up to one that I really enjoy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like a lot of songs have the exact same theme, exact same progression, and then out of like the 4, it's like different rough draft ideas. But
yeah, how frequently do you feel like you're kind of like writing something down, or even just like an idea, maybe not even like a fully fleshed out song?
Oh, I mean, all the time. If you are someone in my life, you will see me all the time, just like record, like taking little voice memos, like in the middle, or like in class, if I have an idea, I'll just jot it down on the side of paper. How much of those turn into songs that are like decent? I don't know. Probably like 15% of the time, like super small percentage of those make it out in front of people. But yeah, definitely always little bits of paper everywhere around my room with just little scribbles and a million voice memos.
Totally. Yeah, it takes up a lot of storage on the phone, I'll say that.
Yeah. And then going through and deleting. I'm like, but what if I use this 30-second run that I took on the car ride to,
Yes. So are you hoping to release new music soon? Do you have like an idea for your next project?
Yeah, there's one song that I actually do with the bands. It's like the only original they'd like to do. And it's actually just like kind of a goofy song about getting too drunk. And if you've ever seen me sing, then that's probably the song that you've seen me do. That's the one that I did. The Venetian.
I do remember it. Yes, I love that one.
Yeah. So if I'm going to release a song next, I feel like that one would be a good one because it is a bit more fun and lighthearted than the rest of my stuff. So
totally,
I think it's a good balance.
Yeah. So how does that work with your bands? Have you tried to bring some of your own music to them as well, but you just tend to want to do more of the cover thing with them?
Yeah. So Small Talk definitely gravitates more towards covers.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do quite a few originals, but they're all instrumental.
Okay.
And then I haven't found, there's nothing that I've written that I've specifically thought like, oh, like we have to do this. Just because we usually do more pop disco with Small Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And then Lazy Bird is usually a lot more like funk, jazz fusion, which is definitely a little outside my comfort of writing. I'm trying to get more into it. But yeah, I feel like a lot of my writing tends to lean towards folk pop, which I'd love to bring into those bands, but it's not always the aesthetic. Maybe in the future, though.
Yeah.
The guys are all super friendly, and they're super open to doing a lot more originals with, like, me getting involved on the writing.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully within the next few months, that is something that'll be happening a bit more.
Very cool. Well, that's exciting. So on your own front, like what, do you have like a concept for like a new project on your solo gig that you're trying to start recording, or I don't know, creating the big idea for?
Yeah, it's not exactly a mapped out concept, I would say, but I would love to start having a lot more like fun, kind of laid back, or like brighter elements to a lot of the music that I do. I think especially when it comes to issues relating to like climate change, right? Or like any kind of social justice issue. I think it's easy to assume that all of that music needs to be like heartbreak, you know, or like real sad. But there's a lot of music that touches on those issues that is like really empowering and really fast and maybe angry. Or the beauty of the song is that the words are really really intense, but the music behind it is really upbeat, and like there's the meaning between that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like I would love to bring in a bit more like fun to my own personal music. That's definitely like something I've learned from working with the bands, is the importance of like sometimes you just need dance, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And what better way to use dance as a release than like for songs that are about, you know, like things that get us really riled up and like, you know, issues that excite us. So
Totally. And what's kind of like the selection process for like knowing when it feels right that like a project's complete? Like I know you were saying how obviously with the last album, some of them you added on a little bit later because you didn't feel like it was quite right yet. So what's kind of like that feeling that you get when you know that, you know, it's locked in, it's ready to go?
I think it's like as soon as, in my case, like as soon as I become impatient about something, like as soon as I'm like, as soon as the feeling of like waiting is over. I think also to some extent though, a lot of things, and this is a lesson that I've been learning more and more recently, sometimes that feeling doesn't come. And sometimes you do just need to like put something out there. That's kind of what I'm hoping to get better at in the next few years, is like not exactly waiting for perfect conditions and for the perfect feeling, and instead just saying, here's what I have, I hope you like it, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a lot of, I mean, it's vulnerable to put your stuff out there, and it's a lot of pressure for perfectionism for sure, but
yeah, it's spooky. It's a little spooky.
No, but you got it.
But it's fun. Nothing's more fun. So, and I think it's worth it too.
Yeah,
so.
1,000%.
I mean, like, what's the point of like, I don't know, being a person if you're not gonna share who you are like with other people, you know?
Yeah, and creating to create, you know?
Yeah.
Very sweet.
Absolutely.
Well, we would love to hear your third song. So what have you got for us?
I can do the Drunk Sometimes song.
Yes. Oh, I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah. I do a lot of joking on stage with this one. To totally level with you, this was like a little bit after my 21st birthday. I had absolutely way too much. And then I like hit on this girl. To be fair, there was a flirtatious relationship established, to be so fair. But I just kind of like broke the fourth wall this one night and was like, here's my number, let's go out sometime. And then that was a little hard for me to do. So then I got absolutely, and then in the morning I was like, oh my God, because we were also important coworkers. So I was like, oh no, like
that'll do it.
Yeah. We're still cool. Anytime I see her, I'm like, hey, but, yeah, good song came out of it though. So hopefully you think so, but yeah, this is Drunk Sometimes. Sorry if I get drunk sometimes. I use my stupidest lines. Yeah, I'm too forward at night when I've been drinking. But please take this personally. See you awake something in me. And with the liquor I get just the right clarity to stop thinking. Yeah, I wish I remember what I said. But what's another way to say I think you should sleep in my bed? I get drunk sometimes. I get drunk sometimes. Sorry if I get drunk sometimes. Get more gone by salt and lime. Don't see sense in wasting time. Just being honest, but don't wanna overstep. Say something I'll regret. I've got no bad intent. You're good, baby, I promise. Yeah, I wish I remember what I said. But how do I say you might be the finest woman I've ever met? I get drunk sometimes. I get drunk sometimes. Sorry if I get drunk sometimes. I let shit slip my mind, yeah. I don't always get it right when I've had a whiskey, but this feeling can electrify even a simple touch of our lives. Did I tell you you look too damn good tonight? Tell me if I go, you'll miss me. Yeah, I wish I remember what went down, but secrets stay secrets till the liquor pours out. I get drunk sometimes. I get drunk sometimes. It's a quick one.
Yes, such a fun one. I remember hearing that. I was like, we've got to get her on Rocket Shop. So what's like your biggest kind of goal for yourself in the next year? Like what do you hope to do? What are your main dreams and wishes?
Yeah, because I'm about to graduate, the goal right now is definitely like make it through the next year, you know what I mean? I like to think that I'm like really flexible. I'm really open to whatever's coming my way. I think I have like a pretty hopeful, good attitude about it, you know? I'm just ready to dive in and just like see what comes of the next year. So I'd say like this time next year, the most idealistic goal I can have is have as most of my income as possible come from music. That's why I want to do music full time. Like, I don't need to be the next Ariana Grande, I just hope one day I can have most of my money come from doing the thing I love. I think that'd be really lucky if I could have that. So that's like the life goal, If I can get it in 1 year, though, who knows what the next one is? I mean, check
Heck
that,
yeah. I love it. So at the end of the show, we also always allow our guests, you've got to promote yourself. So where can we see you? Tell us how we can follow you and best support you. What are your upcoming gigs? Stuff like that.
Okay. My Instagram is grace.palmer.music. And on Spotify or Apple Music, it's all Grace Palmer. Let me think, upcoming shows. I've got a Dartmouth, if you're in New Hampshire at all. I'll be at Dartmouth on Saturday. The next month is a little open, but yeah, if you follow my socials, I'll definitely be posting more about that.
Sweet.
What's coming up. Over the summer, we got some festivals. That'll be super fun. Yeah.
Great things on the horizon. Yeah. Well, everyone, make sure to follow Grace on all platforms and all that jazz. But you have one last song for us. So what will be your fourth and final song tonight?
I was thinking I could do one that I've released.
Yeah.
I haven't played this song in forever, but I really it's a more of like a fun one for me to play, and it was one of the first songs that I ever wrote. It's about like drug use. I don't know if anyone's ever struggled with that. It's not super fun. And so it's about drug use. And I think a lot of the silent side of addiction issues that people talk about. But I think this applies to a lot of other issues too, like any kind of hardship that you're going through and just feeling like it's like a really behind the doors type of issue or type of struggle. And then just kind of like, I think the song's about kind of coming to terms with that on your own through asking some pretty hard questions. So, yeah.
Awesome.
This is called Jupiter. I've been quiet, but it's only me who knows, and I've been going on and on my own, fighting giants, waiting to take a shot. Who needs lions to help? Don't you see all the pride I've got? Do you know how I know that the moon controls the tide? Can I see, and be assured I'm not to blame. How to fly to Jupiter, and when I get there, how will I survive? Or will I see any new colors before I go? How will they say I died? This is all what I've been asking, instead of why. As I'm standing here, nothing bad can come near. I have nothing to fear. There's no voices to hear. This is where I'll take back control. I'll break. It's about damn time. Redemption kind's the kind I make. How to fly to Jupiter, and when I get there, how will I survive? Or will I see any new colors before I go? How will they say I died? This is all what I've been asking. This is all what I've been asking, instead of why. Instead of why.
Jupiter by Grace Palmer. Well, Grace, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for reaching out to me, Abby BK.
Yes, you're welcome. And I mean, make sure to come back whenever you have your next project underway. We'd love to have you back.
Yeah, of course.
But as for now, this has been Rocket Shop Radio Hour. I'm your host, Abby BK. Next week, we have Luminous Crush on Rocket Shop, so make sure to tune in next Wednesday as well. But thank you all so much for listening, and have a wonderful night. We'll see you next time. Woo!
Thanks, guys.